They're quiet, they're peaceful, and they're discussing their concerns. Many we talked with felt that the police had other options and did not need to use their guns to shoot.
You're watching the most shocking and informative LRJ TV News.
Hello, I'm LRJ from LRJ TV. Let's not waste no more time. Let's go into the new shooting in St. Louis City. Let's go.
Six Star Market on Riverview and McLaren in North St. Louis, which is just 2.5 miles away from Michael Brown's shooting on Canfield Place.
The crowd is growing here. People coming down to the corner carrying signs. We appear to have a second protest location in St. Louis tonight. Take a look at some video. There are, in fact, many more answers right now from police about what happened here than we saw in Ferguson 10 days ago.
And the shooting happened really just out here. I'll show you. That's where the demonstrators are now. The man was shot outside this strip of storefronts and then died here on the scene. I'm going to walk you through what we know so far. St. Louis police received a call about a disturbance out here right around 12:20 this afternoon. There was a 23-year-old man outside. Police say he was pacing, talking to himself. Chief Sam Dotson says the man was armed with a knife and ignored officers' commands to put that knife down. They say the man then moved toward an officer, saying, quote, "Shoot me now, kill me now." We talked to a woman who was just down the street when this happened. She said she could see the man yelling something, and then the two officers both fired at him.
Once they drew their gun, both of the officers started shooting.
With common sense, I believe, would have probably pulled a taser since all this stuff is going on right now in Ferguson and stuff. We don't need no more murders and deaths going on.
They had time to pull their tasers out and take them down, you know, apprehend them like that.
Even if he did have a knife can't puncture a vest. This was where the bullet came. So therefore, they shouldn't have no reason to even shoot him.
It really makes it look bad on the cops, you know, at this day and time.
In what way?
Who can we trust? You know, besides God, who do we have to protect us?
It's important for us as government leaders to be out here and let them know that we do have this community's back, and they are not alone, and they do not have to recourse to any kind of violence in their own community to get justice.
We're going to be patient in our neighborhood.
We're going to fight hard.
Because you got people that got your back over here. You ain't alone like they are in Ferguson. You hear me? Your rights. I know your rights, brother, too, and I'm going to make sure that this man's rights were exercised, too, and we're going to find out what happened.
I've already talked to 2 other aldermen.
That's Alderman Antonio French.
And some community activists, because I want this message to be out as truthfully and as quickly as possible, and that's what we're trying to do.
Wait a minute, y'all! How's we gonna survive without massa? We can't do this! It ain't right! It ain't right!
Thank you, Tobias. I want you to know you've always been like a son to me, except I would never, ever lay with your black jungle bunny mama.
Oh, massa!
That's Alderman Antonio French addressing the crowd, a somewhat angry crowd at times.
Don't worry about this. You my people. You in the right place. Right here. Right here. Don't worry about what happened down there. You right here. And then go home to his white wife. What? I shouldn't have said that. Oops. I said it again.
Is that we have a suspect who was involved in a theft, the department was contacted, acting erratically, armed with a knife. Police officers responded. When they responded, the suspect did not respond to verbal commands to drop his weapon. He approached both officers, and then when he closed within 3 to 4 feet of the knife in what described as an overhand grip, the officers fired their weapon. Any questions?
Chief, your men have tasers.
Our men are, some officers are armed with tasers, that is correct.
Chief, seeing what's happening in Ferguson, did you not tell your men to exercise the utmost caution? Because now, are you not concerned this is going to inflame things even more?
That's a great question. I think officer safety is the #1 issue. So if you're the family of a police officer and somebody approaches you within 3 feet with a knife, I think you have the right to defend yourself and protect yourself. So I think it certainly is reasonable that an officer has an expectation to go home at the end of the night. I think we can all understand what's going on in Ferguson, but I think every police officer that's out here has a right to defend themselves and the community. I've already talked to 2 other aldermen.
That's Alderman Antonio French addressing the crowd, a somewhat angry crowd at times.
And some community activists, because I want this message to be out as truthfully and as quickly as possible, and that's what we're trying to do. All right? We're investigating that right now. Both officers fired. I don't know how many yet, but we have that information later today.
What was the rate of the officer?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I don't know, and we'll have to wait for that information.
The officers were inside the car, and then they got outside the car.
They exited the vehicles. Their weapons were not drawn. As the suspect approached them outside of the vehicle, their weapons were drawn there.
And just briefly, with your knife versus gun, you know, was there what's your policy on that sort of thing?
Well, our policy is that at the end of the day, the officer should be able to go home. And so the amount of force necessary to overcome the resistance. If a person is charging you with a knife and they're within 3 or 4 feet, that's a lethal range for a knife. So our public information people will have more information as soon as it's available. Thank you very much.
Sam Dotson. Sam? Alright, people, so if we can just understand and let us investigate this matter, the officers will be vindicated in this situation. I can promise you that. Thank you.
I'm LRJ. Rate, comment, and subscribe. Why? Because you'll be glad you did. I love you all. Peace.